Okay, this is Guy Eagle with the Renewable Wisdom Trails Library and Cosmology. And today we're kind of talking about justice in a funny, different way. We've been working with a series about crossing over, and there's kind of a myth going on about what justice is, or Judgment Day is often what it's referred to. But here's the thing. In the natural world, it's just a simple mathematical thing, as Grandfather Eagleheart once explained to me. How he said it is, there's 4 basic mathematical functions. There's addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And it's going on all the time. It's never not there. So it doesn't just happen at death and change. It always is there. And basically, the enforcement of it is for evolution of the planet as a whole, or the collective consciousness as we've been talking about it. So the way it was taught to me was that anytime you add something, like you add the birth of 7, 8 new deer, or 7 or 8 new humans, there's a subtraction that goes on from other forms, because those additions need water, they need food, they need air, they need resources to exist. Therefore, those resources are subtracted from the whole of what the earth needs. So there's always something that is subtracted from something added. And then as that teaching went forward, there's a multiplication that happens based on the responsibility of what's added and subtracted. So in other words, if you add a bunch of new lives and you subtract resources, if it was done responsibly, then that responsibility is multiplied throughout all the other species of the land we call Earth. If it wasn't responsible to the whole, then the irresponsibility is multiplied and passed on and then divided amongst all that continues to exist on the Earth. So either the irresponsibility or the responsibility is passed on and divided and diversified through all things that exist here on the planet. So you have addition, subtraction, multiplication, and then the division. And it was just really simple, that something always has to be balanced out. And that is what evolution does. It continues the process of balancing stuff, so everything has a compatibility and a harmony. Now, if you get into some of the languaging of different faiths, they would call that justice or Judgment Day. But it isn't always the case. It is a personal thing, whether you're being responsible to nature as a whole, or you're just being responsible for what you need. Now there's where it really gets kind of complicated, and we're not really trying to say what is right or wrong about it. We're just trying to give a different viewpoint of why it's important to remain conscious of the environment and what the environment needs for all the species rather than just the humans. So there's a reflection there, and that's going to be in the next video. So we're going to talk about living by a sense of reflection rather than just what you need as a personal or an individual person. So I don't know, you may want to think about it a little bit, see if you can find different places you may be able to feel more whole with yourself or at peace with yourself. And as always, might be something to it. I hope.